very good afternoon and thank you for tuning in. This is a continuation of NTV Today, and we begin from the High Court right here in Nairobi. Justice George Odunga has ordered Inspector General Police Joseph Boynet, Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i, and Interior PS Gordon Kialangwa to appear before him in person and present Mijungu in court this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. He says the government will not be heard if it does not comply. Andrew Cheng has been covering the return of Mijungu and, of course, the court process currently going on. This is the second day, Andrew, that the lawyers are in court. We know there are numerous orders that have been issued. This is just one of them that requires the compliance of the government. And going by the tradition and what you have witnessed in the past with regards to court orders, do you think they will appear, or should we give them a benefit of doubt this afternoon, Andrew?
Well, thank you, Ken. Of course, we can't speculate on whether they will appear or not, and whether they will present Mijungu in the court or not, because that also has been another order that has not been complied with for quite some time now. Remember, since the days he was arrested and taken to the courts in Kajiado and subsequently deported, that order has never been complied with until today. The court persistently saying that Mijungu should be presented to court so that all these issues the government says it wants to do can be argued before court, and then they can be done with the knowledge of the court and with probably the orders and approval of the court. For instance, today, the lawyers representing, the state councils representing the government were arguing that they need to process Mijungu to allow him to enter into the country. But the judge was saying that, but can't you process him after we have seen him here in court and after we have given you those orders to proceed with that? And the state councils really did not have an answer to that. And that is why the judge gave the orders he gave, that subsequent to the orders that were given yesterday by Justice Aburili, that Mijungu should be presented to court today at 2:30, and that all these top officials in government who are in charge of the Department of Immigration that is dealing with the matter will be present in person in court that day. The judge says he doesn't want affidavits, he doesn't want third parties to represent them, and that they are the ones who should be in court. On the other hand, the petitioners, the petitioner Mijungu through his lawyers that is led by John Hamino and James Orengo and the rest, there's a battery of lawyers representing him, all of them are arguing that the judiciary and the court needs to stamp its authority, because the orders they've been giving have been flouted. None of them have been obeyed, except perhaps the one allowing Mijungu into the country, but then again he has not been allowed out of the airport. So they have been saying that the court needs to bite, as they say inside the courtroom. And one of the things they are saying, that one of their arguments is that the government should not be heard in court because it has not obeyed, it has not complied with any of the orders that has been given. So that is the main thing they were praying for today, and they were saying that the government should not be allowed to present its case. They have given several precedents that have been there all across the world, where agencies or state agencies or even presidents who have not complied with court orders are not given the benefit of a fair hearing in a court of law until and unless they comply with the orders that have been given by the court. So the petitioners' lawyers are saying that this is not just a matter affecting Mijungu only. They are saying that this is a matter that affects the judiciary, the independence of the judiciary and the powers of the judiciary, and also the obedience to the constitution, and just the entire population will be affected by the failure of the government to obey the court orders that are being given.
All right, Andrew, finally, just briefly, in the meantime, where is Mijungu? Has he spent another night at the airport?
Well, the state council who was representing the Department of Immigration said in the courtroom that Mijungu is still at the JKIA. Of course, he has been sending missives from where he is. He's saying that he's being held incommunicado. All his lawyers were in court today, so we don't know whether anyone has gone to see him before that. But from what was given in court today, the lawyers, the state council says that Mijungu is still at JKIA. Just to say what their defense in court, they are saying that they are not in contempt of any court. They are just trying to process Mijungu to enter into the country illegally. But the judge could not buy that argument. The judge insisting that Mijungu needs to be present in court, and all the processing that is being done needs to be done through the blessings of the court.
All right, Andrew Cheng. Thank you very much. Andrew is reporting from the High Court. This afternoon, the lawyers have been given an opportunity to be heard, the government lawyers as a state counsel, but on a condition that Mijungu is presented before the court, and the IG and the DCI appears in person in court. Andrew Cheng is covering that for us. Let's take you now to Kisumu and youth in Kondele, that's Kisumu, late bonfires this morning to protest Mijungu's continued detention by the police at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. We are now joined live by Oko Kusa from Kondele, where he has been covering from morning what's been happening. And Oko, good afternoon, good to see you. The youth are visibly angry at what's happening to Mijungu, and obviously for a good reason. The country is enraged at what's happening. The issue is in court, it's being sorted legally, but they're also having their own way of sorting this issue. What is it?
What is happening is that at around 11 a.m. today, a section of NRM supporters here in Kisumu decided to take to the streets to demand unconditional release of Mijungu, the self-declared actually NRM general, that is Mijungu. They are saying that Mijungu should be released without any further conditions being placed on his freedom. So that is what has been happening here. As you can see behind me, there has been a lot of bonfires and barricading of roads here in a particular spot here at Kondele roundabout. Actually, you can see the traffic snarl up there is being caused by that, and that has been going on since 11, as I've mentioned. They are demanding that the NASA leader, that is Raila Odinga, should intervene and secure Mijungu's release. Actually, they're saying that recently when Raila visited this particular place, he had promised that one of the reasons or the agreements they had with Uhuru was that Mijungu would be brought back home. But now what they're seeing is totally different from what Raila had sort of mentioned to them when he visited this particular spot. So they're demanding that they want Raila to come out and address this particular issue and secure Raila's release. And they're also saying that those plans by Raila initially that he will bring the president down here in Kisumu should be put on hold until they are told, actually until Mijungu is released and let go free. So that is basically what is happening here. Those are demands that are coming from a section of NRM leaders here in Kisumu. Remember, Mijungu traces his ancestral roots just in the neighboring constituency that is called Nyandu. It's about 22 or so kilometers away from here, and some of the people protesting here actually claim that they are related to the self-declared NRM leader, that is Mijungu. So there's a lot of anxiety and emotions here. People are sort of bitter. They're saying that the hours Mijungu spent at the airport do not translate into what they witnessed on the steps of Harambee House recently when Raila and Uhuru came out and shook hands. So actually they're saying that that handshake is useless if it cannot secure or it cannot end the stalemate being witnessed at JKA involving Mijungu and the government. Ken.
Right, Oko Kusa, thank you very much for that brief, and we are looking at what's happening in Kisumu and several areas of the country as the country reacts to the continued detention of Mijungu, who the State Council confirms is still at the airport, third day running since he arrived on Monday. Our team are on the ground for that. Let's move on now. 17-year-old Joseph Theuri, whose hand was reattached in a groundbreaking surgery, has been discharged from the Kenyatta National Hospital after undergoing successful hand re-implantation surgery and receiving professional post-operative care. Theuri, who shows prospects of regaining full use of his hand, was admitted at the Kenyatta National Hospital after his hand got accidentally severed by a chaff cutter machine on the 26th of January this year. The specialist team has given Theuri a clean bill of health, expressing their satisfaction with the tremendous progress he has made in his recovery and joy with the fact that he will now be reunited with his family.
Not like where a root can grow. It has to grow in a same way and reach where it was coming from. So if it was coming from the fingertip, the nail, it has to grow back. And that process is very slow. We can measure the distance from here, where the uri was cut, to the tip of the finger. That's probably more than 10-15 centimeters times 10, which is 150 That is, we are talking of not less than 3 months.
Nimeshukuru kwa kunipa nafasi niongee. Nachosema tu ni kushukuru. Nashukuru madokta walionihudumia. Nashukuru watu wote waliotoa msaada kwangu hadi mkono ukafika hapa leo.
Over 10 political leaders drawn from Mount Kenya have rubbished claims by Nairobi Governor Mike Mijungu that there are night meetings aimed at drawing a plan to deny Deputy President William Ruto the presidency in 2022. Speaking at the burial of Chukwuemeka Mang'ombe MP Patrick Munene's brother-in-law in Kibugia, the leaders asserted their support for Deputy President William Ruto in the 2022 presidential election. According to the leaders, the night meetings, if at all, are strategy meetings.
Mimi sifikiri tunahitaji permit yote kutoka kwa governor wa Nairobi ya kufanya mkutano ya usiku. Tukitaka kufanya mkutano usiku Mount Kenya tutafanya. Kwa sababu hakuna mtu amesema tuitishe permit Nairobi ndio tufanye mkutano. Ile ambaye tunaongea, wewe kama hujaitwa mkutano haikuhusu. Kuna kazi ya kutosha Nairobi. Wengine huwa anapitia hapo Nairobi nikienda pale nyingine. Watu wanalia kwa sababu ya garbage. Mimi najua katika safari lazima watu wajipange. Lakini hujaingia mkutano wetu kujua kwamba tunapanga nini. Ukiuliza tutakwambia.
Yeye mwenyewe aende Ukambani akatafute kura za Wakamba, kwa sababu kila wakati anachaguliwa Wakamba wanampatia kura mingi kuliko zile wanapatia rais. Kwa hivyo kabla aongea Mount Kenya aende Ukambani akatafute kura huko. Kura za Mount Kenya 2022 hatuna tashwishi. Tunasimama na mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto. Ama mimi mmemgeuka?
Tunataka mahali ambapo Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta ataachia, apatie huyu mwenye anajua agenda yetu ni nini.
Kule Bonde la Uva, Rift Valley kwa jumla.
A team of senior Kenya Forestry Service officials from Nairobi have embarked on an audit exercise of trees within the government forest. The team conducted the exercise in Kachepwemwet in Elgeyo Marakwet County following complaints by residents that local Kenya Forest Service officials were colluding with cartels to legally acquire extra trees over and above their allocation in the permits. Gabriel Kudaka witnessed the tree counting exercise, whose preliminary findings indicate rampant disparities in the numbers of trees allocated in permits against those that sawmillers harvested.
1, 2, 3.
A tree counting exercise by locals led by senior KFS officials from Nairobi to ascertain whether the trees allocated to some sawmillers exceeded the actual figure in their permits.
Kwa muda mrefu sana tumekuwa tukiumia kama small scale sawmillers. Tunapewa miti kidogo na kuna watu wengine wanapewa extras. Sasa hatuwezi compete na hawa kwa biashara.
It is these concerns that caught the attention of the KFS team from Nairobi, prompting them to investigate their local colleagues accused of colluding with some corrupt sawmillers.
We are starting at partition 10A, where it was allocated to some sawmillers. But during the process, there is some complaints that what has been allocated and the actual trees on site or on the ground is different.
This is one of the mitigation measures by KFS to address rampant destruction of forests within this region, as well as curbing corruption. Towards the end of the exercise that has now ended its second day, more than 7,000 exotic trees were found to have been allocated to some sawmillers in excess of what is actually indicated in their permits. This translating to revenue losses. Each tree is sold to sawmillers at a cost of between 7,000 shillings to 10,000 shillings, depending on the size. And so all the money for extra trees that are not formally indicated is shared between KFS officials and the sawmillers.
Utagundua kwamba ile miti inaandikwa kwa karatasi ni chache, ile hali ile inapatikana msituni ni mingi.
But some sawmillers dismissed the exercise, saying it should not have involved the residents who were corrupt in counting. Gabriel Kudaka,
Drought has become commonplace in Mandera for the past few years and is attributed to deforestation. The charcoal trade continues to thrive. There is no affordable alternative energy source. Most residents in Mandera depend solely on charcoal and firewood, and with the ever-increasing demand, environmentalists believe that the acacia, most demandable tree for charcoal, so common in the region, will soon be wiped out.
1 month ago, this piece of land near the river in Boys Town location was full of trees, covered with many species that have stood for years. Now, all gone because of the charcoal trade. It is worse in rural areas. Large tracts of forest land have been cut for charcoal and firewood production, distorting the natural habitat. On daily basis, large trucks full of firewood and charcoal are transported into Mandera town from rural areas. A large percentage of Mandera County residents uses charcoal and firewood for cooking. A bag of charcoal in Mandera goes for about 1,000 shillings. And with ever increasing demand, environmentalists warn of dire consequences in the future and possible extinction of the acacia tree, which is common in the area. They want to start action taken against those involved in the illegal business to end the menace.
In fact, we need to advise the Ministry of Environment in conjunction with NEMA to take strict action on this deforestation, whereby we see a lot of people cutting trees, and which is going to lead to a severe drought and more disasters, which will have a very severe impact on the people of Mandera.
The logging is also fueled by the need for wood for home constructions. Local families use indigenous trees such as this one locally known as marer to build thatch houses. Residents now want the government to introduce other cheap and viable construction material to poor families so that forest trees are spared. Illiteracy plays a bigger role in the deforestation, as majority of the charcoal burners and residents don't know the value of forest conservation, focusing instead on short-term benefits.
The majority of our community is illiterate. They are not looking at the impact of the effect of cutting the trees. So, because they depend on charcoals or firewood, they look at trees here and there.
The county government has started an initiative to promote awareness that target all sectors including schools.
Each of these different households, and issue or awareness be taken to each and every household. In this school, we have a population of about 600 students, which means these will go to about 600 households.
Mandera County has a forest cover of 3%, way below the constitutionally required average of 10%. In bid to meet the requirement, the county government, through the Department of Water, Natural Resources and Environment, has planted more than 60,000 trees across the county, targeting public institutions and roads. This year, they want to double that figure.
We have seriously done or massive campaign in tree planting. As I said, we have planted over 60,000 seedlings along the roads, in public institutions, in dispensaries, in madrasas, and in our public compounds or institutions.
The demand for charcoal and firewood remains high. Conserving the forest and the trees remains an uphill task for the county government of Mandera. Ahmed Abdi, NTV, Mandera.
Hundreds of residents displaced by heavy floods in part of Trabaj and Wajir North constituencies are asking the government to immediately come up with plans to harvest runoff rainwater during the rainy season. This, they say, will help ease their suffering each time it rains heavily.
The over 27,000 households currently seeking shelter on several grounds have been displaced by the ongoing heavy rains in Upper Wajir County that borders Ethiopian highlands. At Harigal Center, the floods have affected the livelihood of most of the people. The local market has been submerged by the flood water. Most of the trading goods such as sugar, tea leaves, maize meal, and other essential items have been swept by the early morning floods.
Mvua ilinyesha saa 8 wakati watu walikuwa na lala. Kuamkia asubuhi tuliona ya kwamba kila mahali kulikuwa na maji, manyumba yote, vyombo vimeharibika, chakula na kila kitu, hata masahani. Hawa watu wako wanakaa hapa hawana masahani, vyombo, gam ile ambayo watu walikuwa wanauza zote zimeharibika.
The major source of clean water to drink and use has been contaminated after the flood waters destroyed the local borehole and nearby dam, therefore making it unsafe for human consumption.
Definitely contaminated, because when you look at the way this water is spreaded, you will find that we had pit latrines all over, which has now been swept also by this rainwater. So that is going to be the cause of the contamination.
The likelihood of a waterborne disease outbreak is also high.
We must have a mega dam to divert that water to, and helps the people in terms of irrigation, or knowing very well that Tambas water is saline. We need an alternative water source that is fresh.
We are getting signals that the rains might continue, just like the rest of the country, and therefore all of us need to be vigilant so that we are able to check on our areas.
The cycle recurring year in, year out, the affected resident can only hope for government to step in and correct the situation. Nurjan Almoge, NTV, Wajir County.
Let's get sporty on NTV at One. My name is Warote Kiru, and we start with news that is making a lot of buzz in social media, and it is the redeployment or sacking of standing Harambee Stars head coach Stanley Okumbi and members of his technical bench, who have been sacked and redeployed following below average performances with the national team in international friendlies against the Comoros and Central African Republic. Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa has confirmed that Okumbi, his assistant Frank Ouna, and goalkeeping coach Hagai Azande will no longer be involved with the national team. The trio were in charge of Stars' 2 friendlies in Morocco, where the national team drew 2-2 with Comoros on Saturday and lost 3-2 to Central African Republic on Tuesday. Okumbi will be redeployed as the head coach of the under-20 national team, while Ouna and Azande will now focus on their coaching roles at the Kenyan Premier League clubs Wazito and Tusker. And that story is definitely going to be something that will be following up in our subsequent bulletins. And on to volleyball and some good news. And Kenya Volleyball Federation National League Men's Champions, GSU stand favourites Olympic of Algeria 3-1 in their opening match of the African Volleyball Club Championship in Cairo, Egypt. After Olympic won the first set, the Kenyan team rebounded to win 3 consecutive sets to finish the match at 20-25.